flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Well, all right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Goat Talk here on V-Speed and Goat Locker Facebook page. I'm Eddie Smith, the boy. I got some great guests here tonight. I got Jake Ellingson, Timothy Stubblefield in the house tonight, and boy, it's going to be a great show. Great show, Jake. How are we doing tonight? You ready for some Goat Talk?
Oh, for sure. Can't wait to get some things started, talk about a few things, and get into some of this race recap from last week.
Timothy, what you got going on? I know you said you got Stub Nation in chat, man. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good, hanging in there.
Well, man, it's great to have you guys. Always excited to have some folks in here. Of course, everybody kind of knows Jake and everybody knows Stub Nation, but we're excited to kind of get to know Timothy Stubblefield a little bit more tonight and go over a couple things that we got going on in the Goat Locker world. Of course, we're going to always talk about the nonprofit. That's the number one part of this whole podcast, but also going to break down some of this week's racing and maybe a couple other fun things. We're going to try things out and see how things go, and we'll keep evolving this format, but looking forward to this discussion tonight. Well, guys, I mean, what's going on? What y'all got going on today? Y'all just sit around and wait on Goat Talk all day, or y'all have something y'all had to do today? What y'all up to?
I just worked all day and then got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, worked, and came home and started reviewing some races for Goat Talk here, and I had a blast doing it. Pulling some statistics for you guys, and just having a blast and doing what I do.
What about you, Tim?
I've been sitting here all day waiting. I'm a stay-home dad. Nah, I wish. No, I was like Jake. Got up before Clark, went to work, bed other side of Nashville by 6 a.m. and I got home just in time to get cleaned up, get ready to do some goat talk.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm off on Monday, so I get the ability to kind of hone in on it all, which is sort of my research day. I was a little surprised how much work this actually takes, especially when I get excited and I want to try new things and add to it, make the broadcast look better, but also this podcast. We kind of threw a Hail Mary and just said we've been talking about Goat Talk for a while, and it just was kind of just sitting there trying to decide what we're going to do and how it was going to all play out. And I said, you know what, I want to talk about these this season. I think having 5 series rolling has been pretty exciting. So wanted to talk about it, and all the nonprofit stuff has been really awesome. And so we really wanted to have the ability to do that. So it's been great. I've enjoyed the conversations that we get to have. But let's start off at the top with the nonprofit stuff. And of course, we have Josh Unger, who Pat actually took the sim rig over to. He was the winner, the recipient of that sim rig with the whole setup. I mean, it's everything. It's it's iRacing. It's a PC. It's the frame, the cockpit, the steering wheel, everything they need to get on there and race. And let's take a look at this video and see what we got going on here.
Hey everybody, Patrick here with Goat Locker Racing. We got the truck loaded up, getting ready to head north up to Muncie, Indiana. About an hour and a half drive. Get this sim rig in the hands of Josh Unger, our newest veteran that has joined the Goat Locker Racing family. Can't wait to get it in his hands. Folks, we just pulled up, so let's get this thing delivered. Alrighty, that was a whole lot of fun. Got the sim rig dropped off to Josh. He's as excited as could be. Got to meet his 2 boys, his wife, and everything. He's gonna get everything set up and ready to race. So congratulations again, Josh. Welcome to the Goat Locker Racing family, and thanks to everybody that makes this happen. I want to give a special shout out to the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs and the grant they gave us to make this happen. InVets, you guys are awesome. You are the ones that helped us identify this veteran and so many more. So stay tuned. We got more sim rigs rolling out, and be sure to follow us on all the social media and head over to our website, www.goatlocker.org. Take care.
Man, look at that! Look at that! He got the sim rig up and rolling, and got the old lady on there. She's turning some laps, and hey man, how cool is that? You get to experience iRacing like what we get to enjoy now through Indiana Department of Affairs and InVets. Man, just what a cool partnership! What a cool way to give back, and then to see it all just kind of play out. And Jake, I think you got to talk to him a little bit and got to know him a little bit. We're excited to see him out on track. I saw a message. Yeah, I saw a message in there, and he was like, it was we got out there first couple laps and we wrecked pretty bad. So we got a lot of learning to get to do. But you said you talked to him.
I did. I talked to him a little bit about his what he did in the service, and he was in the U.S. Army from 2008 to 2020. He served in the 1st Infantry Division in the 101st Airborne. He had 2 combat deployments. One was to Afghanistan, one was to Iraq. His assignment for both deployments was he was a personal security detachment person, specifically for his command sergeant major for both deployments. During his deployment in Afghanistan, he was unfortunately injured during a breach, and required quite a few surgeries from what he told me, and then which forced him to medically retire from the military. And I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for that, Josh would still be serving this great nation today. He's definitely married, as you can see from the picture, for 22 years. Congratulations on that. Not a lot of people can say they've been married for over 20 years with 2 teenage sons. He lives in Indiana. He found Goat Locker Racing through InVets, which he applied for the sim rig, and he couldn't be happier to be a part of Goat Locker Racing, and he just really appreciates the opportunity that's been given to him, and can't wait to get on track with him to get more of understanding of how he races and try to teach him a little bit of what we know around here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's awesome. And that setup is not some. I mean, that's a sure enough setup right there. It's got. I mean, it's got a really nice computer. I mean, obviously a really nice wheel and pedal set. They got the cockpit there. She looks like she's driving pretty comfortably, and a really nice screen. I mean, it's the whole deal, man. And it's so cool to have the partners that that were involved in all those things. I mean, you can go see them on the website, all the partners that are involved in this particular thing. And man, just we've reiterated every week, but it serves repeating what is going on in Goat Locker. We get into the racing. We're always talking about the sim racing. That's, of course, that's what we do in the racing league, and we get caught up in that, and we forget, man, there's some really cool stuff going on, and just being around Goat Locker is just awesome. And to see something like this that's happened twice now, I think, and maybe 3 times.
3 times. It's, we have had 3 rigs given out. One was to Warren.
Clayton.
Yeah, Warren Clayton. The other was given away at the car show to, I believe his name is Devin Smith. I might get that wrong, but we did give away one at the car show, and then Josh is the third one.
Yeah, man, just so super cool. Man, just awesome, and definitely can't shout out Pat and Jamie and all the Goat Locker guys who put a lot of work into it. And to be able to do this and provide and a really cool opportunity for some folks to have some fun, man. Some vets that deserve it, man. They deserve a lot more, but hey, it's a really cool deal. So appreciate them for showing us those pictures, having that video just so we can see. So Josh Unger is actually one posted that picture, and I think he's in chat. So brother, we appreciate you, and we're excited to get you on track, and these cars that we racing got a lot of bumpers on them. We can't wait to put a bumper to you, and it's gonna be awesome. So glad to have you, brother. So other news, Goat Locker's going to Bristol. They got some tickets to go, and they had an extra one, and they took Mike George, your Summer Series champion. So y'all, a bunch of you going to be going up to Bristol this weekend, and Jake, you're going to be there. And that's in your neck of the woods, isn't it, Timothy?
Yes, it is. Bristol's about 5 hours away. I can probably do it in 2. My wife don't like it, but I wish I was going this weekend, but unfortunately I have to miss it. But next year.
How many times have you been to Bristol in your life?
One time.
Really?
This time last year.
And what were your thoughts?
I want to go back.
Yeah,
as soon as possible.
Have you been to a lot of tracks? I mean, we'll get to all this. I'm gonna get to know you a little bit more later on. We'll try to. The host's gonna keep it on topic before I start asking you a bunch of questions about your personal life. Well, Jake, tell us a little bit about any info about this weekend. What's going on? Tell me all the details about what Goat Locker's gonna be doing this weekend.
Oh man, well, I'm headed out to Pat's on actually Friday morning. I'll be leaving at about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. Should be around his house about 7-8 o'clock, and then we're gonna head straight out to the cabin where we have a cabin for the weekend, and it's pretty much just gonna be a great time. Catching up with Pat. It's been a couple of months since I've seen Pat, and a couple of months since I've seen Jamie too. So it'd be nice to catch up with them guys again. And then to see everybody else, Mike George, Logan, Jeremy Gardner is going to be there. Jamie Mullins said he was coming. So it's just going to be a blast to actually finally meet all these guys that, we've been racing around and given this, wonderful community to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see the pictures of it for sure. I think, and to announce next week's guests, we're gonna have Pat and Jamie on again next week to talk about it. So hopefully y'all make a lot of cool stories that we we get to chat about next week, and just a cool opportunity. I know that they said this about, I want to say, back in January, that the Bristol night race was one of their bucket list tracks
Yes, yes.
above the yellow line with Taylor Kitchens. And so to get to go to their bucket list track, it's going to be a blast. What's one of y'all's bucket list tracks? Mine personally is Darlington. I have to go to Darlington. I've been to a lot of racetracks, but I got to go to Darlington before I die. I've been there, but not for a race. So I got to go see a race at some point. That's the only track that I say I have to go to before I'm unable to go anymore.
I'm definitely a Nashville Super Speedway guy. I love that track on the sim. I got thousands and
We know.
thousands and
We know.
thousands of laps on that track, but I definitely got to go see Nashville Super Speedway.
I would like to go to the Daytona one time. I've been past the track plenty of times. I've never been to a race. Never been to the Daytona 500. That's one thing I want to do.
Yeah. Daytona is it's got a different feel. It's similar to, Darlington and Talladega. It's just got such a history, but Daytona is just a whole nother level. You got Daytona USA in there. You've got the little Motorsports Hall of Fame around that area. That's a lot of fun. Daytona is worth going for sure. Yeah, I think, I don't know. These days it seems like the racing is not as good as it used to be in these super speedways. We used to go to Talladega a bunch when I was younger, and we went actually in April, and it was so frustrating to watch. That race, because everybody was fuel saving, nobody was really able to pass. So I wish the super speedways would get back to the racing that it used to be, because it was so much fun going to those. But Bristol's going to be a good time. I'm excited to watch that race. Hopefully, back in the spring, that tire wear was such an issue. Hopefully the cooler temperatures, that they're bringing the same tire, they said. So I think that'll be, hopefully it kind of plays out the same way. Cause I remember Larson, I listened to his radio when, shout out to Larson, but, I listened to his radio during that race, and they were having to really pick their lap time. They said, okay, we got to run this particular lap time to be able to maintain this tire for this particular run. So, I thought it was a pretty cool race. Did y'all watch that race back in spring?
I
did.
caught a little bit of it. We had real racing going on with my knees, so I didn't catch too many races during the summer. But I caught a little bit of it, and I heard that there was a tire wear issue, but I didn't. I caught maybe a half an hour of it.
Boy, the Goodyear guy came out of pit road. He was sweating. He had a rag. He was wiping his face like, I don't know what's going on, guys. But we loved it.
They had the whole Goodwood team out there getting everybody new. They now gave up all the teams a new set of tires.
Yeah, yeah. They had to
So
give them
that
an extra
was-
set, didn't they? Yeah.
Yep.
They
Reminds me of that. Was it Pocono? They were having that tire issue as well.
Yeah.
Really bad, like 10, 15 laps.
Yeah, I love the chaos though. That's my favorite thing. Everybody gets all upset about these things, but back, I think, Formula One had a race like that one time a long time ago, and it's such an interesting thing to have like tire issues. And I know safety is sort of a big part of that, but yeah. So hopefully Bristol will be like that. Y'all have a good time. But let's kind of go into a little bit about y'all. What I want to know, it's a sim racing podcast, so I want to know where y'all from. If you want to share whatever personal information you want to share, anything you don't want to, you don't have to. Just whatever you feel like sharing. I want to know more about y'all. We all want to learn a little bit. So love to know more about you guys and your sim racing history. I want to know not just iRacing, but what did you grow up doing? Were you on the Nintendo playing Mario Kart, or were you playing Formula One or Indy racing or whatever it is you were doing when you're growing up? I want to know all that stuff. So whoever wants to go first, just kind of take away.
Tim, why don't you take this one?
Oh man. Let's see. Now I pretty much grew up playing the NASCAR games. The first one that comes out, PlayStation 1, 98, 96. I had everyone all the way up to like 2006, 7, 8. I pretty much got into sim racing, I'll say back in middle of 21. I kind of tried to get into it during COVID when everybody else was doing it, but I didn't have those set up and everything. Kind of didn't have the money. I just pushed it off. I was like, I'll just come back to it later, whatever. Um, I would say middle of 21, I lost my best buddy. I was like kind of in a situation like we had nothing to do. It's like kind of, lost my gaming buddy. I was like, you know what? I had that iRacing account, and so I got back it, saved a little money, and I said I think I bought the Logitech G29, and
The rite of
got
passage.
in. Yeah, just got in iRacing kind of as an escape, you know, losing a buddy and work, and I mean just a thousand things. And so when I get home and get to the sim rig, everything I kind of drown everything out. So it's kind of more of an escape for me, and so I like to be competitive in it, really good, but I just like to have fun in it, and so I'm kind of studying a little bit, but
Well, it's kind of what Goat Locker's mission is you're talking exactly the reason why that they're giving away those sim rigs like they are is you talk about it. We all kind of do that. We come home, want to just throw the sim on, go out, race our favorite cars, and just kind of kind of just focus in on what we're doing. You got your buddies in chat while y'all racing. It's I mean you're right. It's a great escape. It's awesome, especially for camaraderie and stuff like that. So that's exactly the same thing. The reason why they do that. So that's I think we can all agree with that. What about where you from? Where how'd you grow up? What do you do for work?
so I live in Lebanon, so I live like 20 minutes away from the Nashville Superspeedway. So Jake, if you want to come, I got a place for you to stay, and I'm like 30 minutes from the fairgrounds downtown. Um, right now, I'm a electrician. Been doing it for about 12 years now. Went to the school and everything. So pretty much right now, I get up, go to work, and come home, eat, sleep, race a little bit, and do it again.
Yeah, Jake.
I got my start in sim racing. I wouldn't say sim racing. I think I picked up one of the NASCAR games. And I wanted to like a steering wheel, a little rig, to play around with. And then I didn't even know what iRacing was until the Slinger Nationals in 2019, um, when the races were over. Everybody gets to go back in the pits and whatnot. And I got to talking with a lot of everybody, and then stop by like one of the guys haulers, and just happened to be Ty Majeski, and talking to him about I got this wheel and stuff when I only play NASCAR. He goes, well, why don't you hop on iRacing? I'm like, what's iRacing? And then he got to explaining it to me. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And then later on, that following year, I had some things going on and I didn't get a chance to. But the following year in 2020, I pulled the trigger on iRacing and um, got started. And then all of a sudden, I was like, well, this is boring. I want something to do like every week with a bunch of group of guys. And then that's when I found Original Rebels Racing League, and that's how I met you, Eddie. That's how I met Pat and Jamie, and the rest is history. I Every week, every day, I'm on here doing GLR stuff, talking with everybody, and I just couldn't be happier. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, uh, born and raised all 36 years of my life in this nice cold state. Other than that, there's really not much to me. I mean, I go to work, come home, do GLR stuff.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I started on NASCAR 1 on a computer, the family computer, and we didn't have a wheel. We had a flight stick. Like you have that the ones that go, you have to
Oh,
hold
the
the
little,
handles, yeah, and they
the
push
little,
forward and pull back.
yeah.
Yeah, I was flying a Boeing 747 in NASCAR 1, and it was we bought it at the local computer shop, and I just remember being, man, I love NASCAR growing up. We were always going to Talladega, huge race fan, and whenever I was able to get NASCAR 1, NASCAR 2, NASCAR 3, and then you get to NASCAR 2003 is when it all kind of went. That's the precursor to iRacing. So I was on all of them. I did NASCAR Heat. Jonah Colbert, you remember him? We actually met racing NASCAR Heat in middle school. We raced in a league, and I was on a Microsoft Sidewinder. It was a piece of junk. I mean, it's crazy how you start, especially when you're a kid and you don't have any money. But yeah, it's cool to see where it is now, man. Just we were talking before we started the podcast. We did Goat Locker sort of halfway did a endurance race this weekend in GT3s, and you've got all the different cars and stuff. It's crazy to think about what iRacing. You just name us. They have an electric car on there now. They got a Porsche Mission R. So you can race just about anything on iRacing and have all the different disciplines. It's so cool, just what it turned into. It's just unbelievable. So it's man, it is so much fun, but it's a lot like real racing where you could spend a ton of money if you aren't careful.
Oh yeah.
It gets expensive quick. You can get entry level is cheap, but as soon as you get into Discord, the guys are all, you need to get a better pedal set, and you're like, okay, well, how much is a better pedal set? Oh, it's $1,500.
Oh yeah.
So, and they tell you have to have it, and I think there's a little part of us deep down that know we don't need it, but we tell ourselves we do, so we can justify spending the money.
Facts.
You should.
I know some of the pro guys, coat guys. They just race like the Washington U300 wheels mounted to a desk and a regular chair, and the fastest people on the track.
Yep, 100%. But
So.
yeah, and I think there was one that won the DWC back in the day on a G25. So it definitely doesn't take all of that, but that's what yeah, we got to have it. You have to. We're not pros, so we got to have all the equipment. But it's a lot cheaper than real racing. I'll tell you that. I did some go-kart racing growing up, and I mean that's nothing but 5-horse brigs, a little bit of fiberglass and some tires, and you're looking at $5,000 just to get rolling. So
easy.
Yeah.
My niece raced Bandoleros for the last 4 or 5 years, and every single season, just for a little car that to for kids up to 14 years of age, just to race those, it's about 20-25 grand a year just to race those.
That's insane. I know I was blown away when they said, yeah, you pretty much got to run new tires every weekend. I said, oh, okay. Well, how much is new tires? $400 a set. I said, oh, okay. Oh, well, no problem. I said, well, what about a motor? You got a $300 motor? No, you got to buy a flathead $1,750 motor from this builder. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so it definitely iRacing, when you compare it to and it's hard to really explain that to folks who haven't really raced on iRacing, because they don't realize how the competition is so much like real life. You really, if you're a competitive person at all, iRacing really scratches that itch, because you're able to get door-to-door racing. Like Josh Unger probably has found out, we're not talking about you go in there and it drives it for you. No, you're driving as close as you can get. You don't have the seat of the pants feel, but it's as close as you can get, and it takes some effort and time and really work on it. So it definitely scratches the itch for me of being able to drive all kinds of cars. I'm really addicted to the Mustang GT3 at the moment. So if you hadn't heard the way that thing sounds, go ahead and go to YouTube, look up new Mustang GT3 and listen to that bad boy go around the track. If that don't get you Jimmy's Russell, I don't know what will. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, so all right, well, we got some racing going on, but I kind of want to do something a little bit new and go and debut it for y'all, and we'll see how this goes. But we've all been around racing, and if you know anything about racing in real life, you know that it can get a little nervous at the tracks whenever things don't go your way. If you ever heard about Bowman Gray, you know that they're fighting like heck, women will have kids in their arms and be swinging on guys in the pits, and there's short tracks all across the country where that happens. Even at the go-kart track, they used to have guys with ball bearings in their hand, going over punching the other dads, and it's as part of it. Your tempers are going to flare, and it's so different on iRacing and any kind of sim racing. You see that type of stuff, and having a place like Discord where people can chat with those other drivers almost immediately after the race, which is probably not a good thing, but it can be good or bad depending on how your race went. But so I thought it'd be cool to do a little segment where we read some of the ones that maybe didn't go well. So we'll see how this plays out, but we've all done it, so I'm gonna kind of give a little statement beforehand. We've all done it. You've had a particularly bad race, and you just need to let the other guy know that you aren't happy at all. So this is just for fun, and a lot of these commenters who did this, they said later, hey, I apologize for getting upset, but it happened. So real quick, we'll kind of give y'all, do y'all ever remember a time where you had a bad race and you just had to go let that other guy what you thought about him?
Oh, definitely.
What
I'm
about
pretty
you?
calm.
You
I'm
pretty
pretty
calm?
calm. Just let it slide. Just let it slide. I try not to get too upset, but there's been a couple times I went back and wrecked somebody.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be upfront, and I'm gonna say I've fallen into this trap plenty of times where I want to get on there and just talk some smack. I like a good trash talk, especially if it's friendly. But iRacing's competition will bring the worst out in you, and so I'll admit I've been suspended. Not in the last 5. I've been on iRacing for 15 years, and the last 5+ years, maybe 10 years, I haven't been suspended. But early on, I was the type of guy that if you wreck me and your race is over, you ain't getting back to the start. You're not getting her to the end of this thing. So anyway, we wanted to give some of these guys who post, now this is all anonymous. I'm not gonna. There's gonna be indication of who this is from. I don't really think you're gonna be able to look this up. It's just for fun. This is not to make fun of somebody. It's really just to poke fun at how serious we take this sometimes and how silly it is, because we've all looked back on it and said, you know what, what I said, the way I acted at the end is kind of silly. But we just wanted to have a little segment where we do a little bit of these each week and just have fun, laugh at each other, laugh at ourselves. And so that's what we're going to do. But I got to get the right kind of music for something like this. So let me get this up and going, and we'll read some of these messages. If I had the lights, I would turn down the lights a little bit. 33 wrecked me intentionally just because I got tight. Shake my head, embarrassing. The 99 is terrible. Ridiculous. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And these aren't in order, by the way. These are just one at a time, singular ones that I picked out. If we could get a diagram of where the brake pedal is, that would be helpful for some. Y'all two just need to get a room with a vibrating bed.
Seen that.
Where's the race? I can't find the race. Driver A was the class of the field, and driver B was trying to win, driving over his head and getting mad because people was giving him room to go around, but he didn't like where they was at, and we didn't get on the apron and give him the whole track, that's all. The 99 is terrible. And from the looks of it, your profile pic is you look mid-40s arguing with a child over a game. Some hero didn't even slow down at the end of the backstretch and just plowed through me like Johnny Sins on lap 1. I see no one in here has the balls to explain why they dumped me on a straightaway with 2 to go. That's disrespectful. Lame. I've got the replay. Sorry, guys. I'm choking up. I've got the replay from the 30 spinning me on pit road when I was being told to stay behind the 35. Then, when the 30 passed me, it was telling me to pass the 30 and stay behind the 35. I got a boner from a Hooters girl singing happy birthday to me once. Awfully bold comment from a dude who finished 6 laps down. My dad is a 6-time late model champ at Redacted Motor Speedway. He has the track record, also 5 flags. He has finished top 5 every time except twice. We is one of the most known race car driver and motor builder in Alabama. He also keeps up 6 late models that are actually worth $100K. And before I go any further, is this enough or do I need to keep going? The 99 is terrible. I'm glad we were able to have a serious conversation for about 5 minutes. Someone must have opened a box of fresh crayons and it was feeding time at the zoo. I'm done with the league and all nothing but a bunch of people that can't drive. Really? I race clean every damn time and I don't get a sorry for driving over your head. Bite me for being angry.
Oh my God.
You want to swap numbers and take my number? Since you want to drive like Austin Dillon, you might as well have the same number as him. The 99 is terrible. What's a good pace lap time-wise for Kentucky? Response. 55 miles an hour, I think. I thought this was a fair lead. You guys throw a caution for Trevor spinning out, but can't throw cautions when there's 3 cars involved, when lap cars take people out. All on the track, by the way. And no cautions were thrown the remainder of the night. Yes, sounds exactly like favoritism to me. No way all 3 cautions that night were thrown just happened to have admins involved, and for the broadcast to say every time there was a wreck, why was that not a caution? How clueless of a driver are you? The 99 is terrible. All right, well, that's that segment. I don't know how well that went, but just wanted to show off some of the fun messages. Like I said, don't take it seriously. It's just for a laugh. I hope you laughed at least a couple times. It's just for fun. We've all done it. Said some things that on Discords after races, and
Oh my God.
wanted to highlight some of those. So we picked some of the better ones. We'll keep doing that every week, and so. But anyway, let's move on. It's kind of hard to segue out of that. I don't really know what to do, but we'll segue into the races this week. And Jake, you pulled a really nice stat for the winners over the whole league this week up until this point of the season. What was that stat?
Yeah, really cool. Across the 15 races that we've done, we've had 13 different winners. It just shows the caliber of drivers that we have and how difficult it is to win multiple races in a row or multiple races. I mean, that's just phenomenal. 13 different winners across 15 races. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know last season in the Friday Night Truck Series, I think we got to like like 7 or 8 races, and we still had a new winner every single time. So I mean, that just shows the parity that goes on with Goat Locker. It's really, really tough to win here, and it's tough to be dominant. It's just not possible. Very few drivers have gotten into a position where they win multiple. I think Andy Kurtz in the ARCA series had a run there where he was really dominant, but that's changed here recently. And you know, so it definitely takes a lot to win here in this league. But let's go ahead and jump into some races. Let's talk about what we had this week. And yeah, thanks to Taylor Kitchens, we have some TikTok videos of the end of the races. So every week, I'm not gonna sit here and say she's gonna do it every week. I don't know what the actual plan or the deal is between them, but she has been doing them every week. So if you don't have Goat Locker on social media, they're really close to 1,000 followers on X. So please, if you have a Twitter, if you have an X, just one that's sitting around, maybe you're not using it, go over there and hit follow, because not only, okay, well, yeah, I don't use social media that often. I don't use TikTok. I don't use Facebook. I don't use Instagram. That's fine. If you have them, though, and you give Goat Locker your follow, the algorithm pushes them up the more followers, the likes, and stuff that they have. So even if you don't use it, I don't use Twitter for anything except for liking Goat Locker stuff or anything in particular. So I don't use Twitter for anything other than that. So anything that you can do to kind of help get them more visibility, it just is helping Goat Locker. And so they have a goal of 1,000 followers on X. So I haven't checked today, but they were a little bit over 10 to go, probably about a week ago. So definitely go over there and give them a follow. It's definitely worth it. But Taylor Kitchens at Above the Yellow Line has been working with Goat Locker doing some of these TikTok videos. So if you got TikTok, I think it might be on Instagram as well. I'm not sure on that, but TikTok for sure. Go check them out each week. She does a fantastic job of hitting the high points and hitting the finishes and showing those off. Jake, Timothy, have y'all seen any of those videos?
I haven't seen many of them. I scroll through Facebook every day, but I don't really stop and watch some of the videos. But a lot of the videos that she puts out for GLR and like highlight reels and stuff are really, really phenomenal. So need to take a look at those every time, you know, you hop on the GLR Facebook page, or, you know, Taylor Kitchens Above the Yellow Line page, because what she does is just a phenomenal job in the video edits.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like her content. I was actually watching her on TikTok before she got tied in with Goat Locker and everything, and to see her get tied in with it was pretty awesome. And
Yeah.
after every NASCAR race, the first thing I get on TikTok, boom, her doing a recap, and I like it. I watch her lives and everything.
Yeah, and she works extremely hard, and she does really great work. So so all these videos that you're gonna see are not done by me. There is an intro video for the fall season that is also done by her. It was attributed to me, but I didn't make it. It was her. So all the credit to her. If you're not subscribed to Above the Yellow Line, might as well. She has a podcast where she talks about NASCAR news and stuff, and it's definitely worth the listen. I think she does a great job. So definitely go check that out. But so Hidden Whip Brewery Tuesday night Xfinity Series is the first one up, and well, Jake, you were in this race, and dadgummit, you were so far in it, you won the race. Let's go take a look at that real quick before we start talking about it. Into turn 3, coming out of turn 4, and Ellingson takes the checker flag. He will win here at Homestead. Jacob Ellingson, your winner here tonight, as he leads 43 laps after taking the lead there on that pit cycle, and he never looked back. Great finish. Great race for him, and great confidence builder for Ellingson, who has had some races that he would love to have back. What a way to kind of forget about those and get a win at Homestead in dominant fashion. Well, there you have all the raw emotion, Jake. Congratulations on your win. That was a fun race to call. It was one of the cleanest all week, and the Xfinity cars, Homestead, a good combination. Seemed like it was tough to pass. Seemed like whoever got out front was in a really good spot, and you guys were kind of hanging around in the top five. Lucas dominated the first part of that race, but the only caution came on lap one. There was just a little bit of contact there on the first lap, and then it went green from there. So that's what we expect out of the Hidden Wit Brewery Xfinity Series, and we still had 5 lead changes regardless of just the one caution. And Lucas, I think he led 56 or 52 laps of the first part of that race, so he was really dominant there early.
Definitely. I had caught him towards the end of the before pit stops, and I was trying to set up the pass to get in the lead before the pit stops happened. But every time I would try to sneak, underneath, trying to get him on a corner exit, the rear end would just break out and get loose, and I wouldn't be able to get that run and get the power down. So around like lap 40, I want to say it was 48, 49, me and Pat decided Pat and Jamie decided to pit and see if we can't jump the cycle. And then he ended up staying out, and I was like, okay, well, maybe he'll stay out, 8, 9, 10 laps, a little bit longer and have the tire advantage on the back end of the run. And then he pitted 3 laps later, and I was like, all right. And then I didn't see him again, and I had messaged him after the race, find out what happened, because he was, really dominant, at the beginning of the race. And he said he just burned it up a little bit, trying to get around lap cars and trying to pass, Jamie. He burned it up a little bit, and which is unfortunate because I'll tell you what, if Lucas puts together a race every single time he's out on track, he's top 3 contender every single race, if not winning almost every single one. I mean, the guy's just has raw speed.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, he started on the pole, I believe, and he got on the pole and was in complete control of the race. And he was running a very important line there at that track in that car combo, which is coming right off the bottom and kind of coming off the turn low, which seems like it wouldn't work, but at Homestead it's really, really good. It saves the tires. You get great runs off the bottom there. It's such a weird line, and he was doing such a good job at it. And I felt so bad for him because I when y'all came down pit road, y'all came down together, and he wasn't, maybe didn't seem to be ready. I didn't talk to him after the fact, but it didn't seem like he was ready for that. And I thought, well, for sure he'll go long. He'll go as long as he possibly can. How long could y'all go on fuel? Do you know? Do you remember?
I believe it was 63 laps.
Yeah, so he
I
pitted
believe.
10 laps earlier than he needed to, and he did it. It was probably it's the worst. It's in a bad scenario because you have to make that decision quick when y'all come down. It's literally come down next lap, and if you don't, you at that point you kind of have to just wait it out, go all the way to 63, and give yourself that much tire advantage, so you don't have to fight as hard to get through the field. So I mean, were you surprised by that call to come down 3? I mean, obviously you were. You kind of said it that way. It was a little surprising to see him come down just 3 laps after y'all.
I mean, I was pretty surprised because I know me and Pat were trying to throw down qualifying laps after that pit cycle, and then as soon as he came down pit road, I was like, well, if we take it easy now, we'll have an advantage because he'll try to push it, and then it just ended up, it is where it was. I kind of, the line that I was running was a lot different from what Lucas was running. I was staying a lane up right on that seam. I was putting my left sides right on that first seam above the yellow line, and it seemed to tighten up the car and not be so loose on exit. But as soon as you got behind somebody, it was terrible. It was such a handful with how the aero is in the Xfinity car and the changes that iRacing has made. I mean, it's for the better. I mean, it puts on great racing, but holy crap, it's a handful.
And it seemed like whoever got out front really controlled the race, and because Lucas, nobody could touch him. And once you got out front, it was the same thing. You just kind of walked away from the field. Well, Stubblefield, do you how much experience do you have in the Xfinity car and at Homestead?
Um, I got plenty of experience in the Xfinity car, but I still ain't the best at it. I mean, I feel like I can't get the car figured out. Um, Homestead, I mean, it's some days I'm good, some days I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I feel like I do good. Next you know, I'm just in the back. I can't find speed. But that one race I might do good, get a top 10 if I'm lucky. But just like Homestead, just like a hit and miss for me.
Yeah, it's almost like the track goes through changes. I'm sure based on the car, the setup, and all that. But there'll be times where you'll go to Homestead and you can run the high side in 1 and 2, the bottom in 3 and 4, and that'll be the fastest way. The high side will be good, certain times, especially to make passes. But it seemed like Tuesday night, the high side just didn't work at all. It was just a waste of time to go up there. If you wanted to have fun, I guess you could go up there. It seemed like some guys, Daniel Cunningham, tried to make it work, and it was just eating the tires alive, and it just really wasn't giving you the runs off the corner that maybe it has in the past. So it was a little surprising to see the bottom be way more dominant. I think the trick to Homestead has always been to run the bottom, save tires. If you can do it and do it long enough, but it was surprising to see it never really change at all. The high line never really gained any traction.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of rubber that was put up there for it to gain that kind of traction. Maybe if guys would have migrated up there sooner in the race and tried to lay down a little bit more rubber, get more heat up there, I think it would have built in a little bit better. But other than that, that bottom was just on rails all night.
Yeah, there was a lap one wreck, a little bit of contact. There's really not much to talk about there. It was just sort of everybody's taking it easy at the start. Sometimes you just kind of get a little bit lazy and make contact, and I think that's all that it was. You've got written here the biggest movers of the race were Keith Haney and Chance Taylor, both up 13 positions from where they started. So pretty impressive. And then you got there 3 different winners this season. We haven't really talked about point standings. Really no point at the moment because there's 2 drop weeks in Goat Locker for every series, and y'all do the points on iRacing itself. And so we'd like to talk about points, but they're not really going to paint the full picture until after next week. So it'll be not this next week, but after 4 races have been put in, will it sort of kind of start to make shape, and it'll take 5 or 6 before it really starts to show who's got what. Because right now after week 3, your 3 winners, if there's different winners, are going to be at the top of the point standings with almost the same point total, because they'll drop the 2 worst races and they'll just have 1 counted. So not talking about point standings at the moment. I'm sure people are probably wondering. But once we get more into the season, the show will kind of migrate away from maybe some silly stuff, just covering the races, to really talking more about where the point standings, who is in on the cutoff line, all that stuff. As we move through the season, will become more and more part of the show. But right now, not really worth talking about points at the moment. But Jake, I mean, how's your season going so far? I mean, obviously having to win this week's pretty dang good. You locked yourself into the playoffs, but so far the Xfinity Series has been good to you so far.
Oh, definitely. I missed the first week, the Talladega week, on that Tuesday. I got married on that Tuesday, so I had a very good excuse of missing Talladega. Not upset about it. I can save super speedway racing for the birds. But other than that, last week and Homestead was very rewarding for me. Kind of picking up from last season, just kind of getting back in the stride and trying to just continue them top 5 finishes, and hopefully we make it to the championship 4 again come December.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pretty good start to the season for the Xfinity Series. Of course, I broadcast that, so I have a pretty intimate knowledge of how these races have gone, and I love the Xfinity Series because it's a very easy series to call, because for some reason the Xfinity car, maybe just the guys who like to race it, Last season, multiple races go caution free, no cautions at all.
Yep.
It's such a clean series, and to have a sponsor like Hidden Wit Brewery on board makes it a cool one. I think it's neat. I think it's cool to have that type of sponsorship. So I enjoy that. My Tuesday nights, they're pretty laid back. Y'all make it easy. I don't have to come up with a bunch of stuff to talk about during cautions and try to fill time. As being a solo broadcaster, it's tough not having somebody to bounce it off of, and y'all make it easy. Give him something to talk about, break it down the action. But so Tuesday Xfinity Series, I think was a pretty solid race. Had kind of race of two things that happened. Lucas kind of dominating the first part, and then that green flag cycle kind of changed the look of the race, and you kind of took control from that one. So congratulations again on the win. But talking
Thank
about
you.
cautions, we move on to the next gen series at Auto Club, and both of you are in this race. So Stubbs, I know you have a lot to talk about in this race, along with Ellingson. Next gen car at Auto Club, and that's of course the Cruising Classics next gen series. Very draft heavy. You get those big runs. It can be frustrating to make those moves at a track like that. But I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll kind of watch the ending on this little reel by Taylor Kitchens, and then we'll jump into the race.
3 to go. Will Ellingson have the time to close out that gap to himself and Cofield? As much as Cofield may be worried about the cars, he was worried about that happening. That is the full course yellow, and that's not what Cofield wanted to see. These drivers piling into each other on the grass. Our camera indestructible. Makoni, our team tonight,
But took me out.
just got ran over by a car and still lives to tell the tale. And that was not what Cofield wanted to see.
This is going to be.
I don't think Cofield wanted to see that.
The drivers have been up front all night. They don't want to let this one slip away.
I didn't want to
They
see
want
that.
To get back to the front. They've only got a few laps to do it, but they've got a whole 2-mile track to get it done in. We'll see if they go 3 or 4 wide. This is going to be one heck of a restart here.
And coming to the final restart from tonight's racing action, after a 6th yellow disrupted what we thought was going to be a dominant performance from Cofield, the field now going to be led back to the green by Sturgeon with a very early jump. He's going to be leading them comfortably heading into turn at number 1 and 2. And with this first overtime attempt, if they make it back to the white flag, that will be game, set, match, no matter what the next flag is. Lucas Lyons, who took the opening race victory at Talladega with a big sideways snap for a lot of drivers and a big wreck. That is Ellingson, the number
it's making
27,
it wall.
with a big moment. The 81, the 91 involved in that. Green flag back out, and Sturgeon.
Jacob
with
might have been one of
another
those
good
things I
restart. The
read
driver
out
that was
earlier.
spending that previous yellow, saving as much fuel as he could. Is he going to be
No.
able to make it to the end, or is he going to be running on fumes? Look at Lucas Lyons, who came from behind to win at Talladega for the opening race of the season. He's now running in P2, however, running wide off corner entry. He is going to be on the back foot, possibly going onto the back straightaway for what could be the final time at speed. 3 wide action, heading into 3 and 4. That was a little bit of contact that must be said. Jermaine in the midst of that. Cofield trying to make his way up the spots. So Jonathan Cofield, who was in a good position, trouble for the 41. He's going to be spinning off of the corner.
The checker
Flag.
is out.
Yeah, the checkered is going to be out, and Logan Sturgeon very happy that we don't have 3 green-white checkered attempts. Instead, we have to settle for 2, and Sturgeon takes the checkered flag to win the 3rd race of the season. 3 to go. Will Ellingson have the time to close out that gap?
Excuse me. Well, so I mean, and that was a little bit longer than I realized, so sorry about that. Yeah, so I mean, definitely looked like there was a lot going on in this one. 1 caution in the Tuesday Xfinity Series, 8 cautions for 22 laps here in this one. 8 lead changes, so it definitely seemed like the draft was pretty incredible, able to make a lot of big moves, but a lot of contact. It's very frustrating. The side draft, I think, makes a lot of very frustrating race. You're kind of in a pack, and Mike Kostick did set on the pole. He ended up getting wrecked at some point, and Logan Sturgeon takes the victory. So y'all were both in this one. Timothy, what was it like out there? What were you struggling with? What was the race like? Talk to me about that one.
If you was in the back, it was crazy. People going 3, 4 wide. I understand. I mean, if you're on cold tires, it's loose coming out of 2 and 4. people kind of watch up on the track. I mean, it's Auto Club. Yeah, I think I had a bad qualifying on lap 2. I kind of got loose. I think I had a good spot. I got loose, put me in the back. I know I made my way back to the front. I think I got P3. That caution came out by halfway. Took tires and everything, and I got in that little wreck out there. I think I little net code, and of course just enough to give me a meatball. Which I should have stayed out. I wanted to stay out like in the end, like Logan did, and be up there. But I feel like we'll go green. I'll just get smoked. I better be on new tires. But um, I think I finished. I think it was a wreck on the end. I think I finished like 16, 17. So it was good in the beginning. Kind of got bad for me at the end.
Jake.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, this is not goat not want to talk about it. This is goat talk, sir. So we're talking about it.
Well, yeah, I was running down Cofield at the end there, and we were gaining on him probably about it was anywhere between a half a tenth to a tenth a lap towards the end, and I did not want to see that caution because one, I wanted to see if I was able to get up to him and pass him in a car that I really don't like. Number two, I didn't want to see that caution because it would have still given me a good finishing position with the last couple races that I've had, and being DNFs in both Talladega and Phoenix. It would have given me a big confidence boost in the coming weeks for that. So I really didn't want to see that caution because that would have still given me hopefully a solid top 5, depending on what happened towards the end, if it were to go green. And then just like Stubblefield said, like I didn't want to get caught up, with old tires on the restart. So I pit with Cofield, and Cunningham just kind of, tagged me in the rear just a little bit, just enough to get me loose. And then, I was trying to catch it, in the middle of the corner, and then just kind of like went from there. Nothing but a racing incident. Not mad, some things happen. And it's frustrating with 3 DNFs to start the season in next gen, but we're going to look, to continue trying to get top 5 finishes, and that's the goal.
Yeah. The next gen car is just such a different animal. You have to almost relearn every time you drive it. You have to relearn things that habits that you have out in the Xfinity car, the ARCA, or even the truck. And the next gen is just such a specific type of racing. And there, it seemed like, I don't know if y'all noticed this, were people trying to be aggressive with the side drafts. Did y'all notice that being sort of an issue
Yes.
with
Yes.
people making contact?
Mhm.
Yes. The next gen is very aero dependent. As soon as you even reach that rear spoiler, you're getting yanked back, and you could feel it in the wheel. You can feel yourself getting yanked back, and it's rough and frustrating because it's like I need to get past him. I need to continue moving forward, but it's just so tough.
Yeah, and when you're behind somebody and you're making that move and you yank them back, well, as soon as you get out ahead, they just pull down and able to kind of yank you back a little bit as well.
Yep.
So it
Yep.
can be a kind of a frustrating back and forth, and tracks like that are already frustrating because you're like, I got all this room, but I can't do anything. I can't go where I want to go if I don't have fresh tires. Passing incredibly difficult, and so yeah. The next gen is such an interesting car. I used to hate it, and the more I drive it, and you get used to the quirks and stuff, I think I start to like it a little bit more and more. It's just on rails compared to the other ones, and I think maybe that's where a lot of folks have issues with it because it definitely feels more planted. Mechanically, it's pretty sound as far as how much grip you have until you don't. And that's sort of what we see in real life too, where you're just driving along, everything feels good. I don't notice any problems. Whoop, you go around. Whereas the other ones, you really can rotate the car more on throttle. This thing seems like it's almost dug in like a slot car, right?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Well, do y'all like the next gen car, or are y'all big fans of it? Timothy, do you like the next gen? What's your favorite? What's your favorite oval car?
Man, I don't know about y'all. I like the next gen at Talladega and Daytona. No, I like the next gen. I guess when I got on iRacing, that's the only that had the next gen, so I didn't really get to race years with the Gen 6 and stuff like that. But I like the next gen. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I like it.
Well, we'll expand more on that. What do you like about it at Daytona Talladega? What do you like about that car versus something else?
I was really just joking about at Talladega because, like Jake said, like the draft, once you get so close and you just stop. But once you get about a half a car length back, you just lose the draft and you just fall all the way back. You know,
It feels like you have to be more aggressive in those races in the next gen. Like you have to be like in Atlanta in the next gen. You got to be moving forward, or you'll be in trouble. Like you're just not able to
yeah,
really
like
play around.
if you get wrong, you gotta just
Yeah.
go. You can't just
Yeah.
hit the brake, fall back, because like I just said, you get about 0.2, 0.3 seconds back, you lose the draft, and you just the field's gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, and like on restarts, in the other cars, you can kind of roll on the throttle, but if you're not careful and that pack spreads out, and then that draft catches everybody up at once, and you're not part of that rubber band effect back. Like you said on a restart, if you're not being aggressive, you'll lose the draft. Like what you're saying, it's crazy. I've never seen any car react that way, but it's just the way that one is. It can be tough. You have to be more aggressive and stay up on the wheel, I think, more than the others. So yeah.
and definitely like even it, even like 5, 6, 7 cars in front of you, if that one guy have a bad restart and he lose the draft, then the whole half the field behind him is gone, and everybody's cussing on the radio. And that's one thing I hate about that next gen.
Well, what do you like about it? You just said you like Talladega Daytona, and then you say you hate it. What do you like about it?
I don't. For me, I just find it more easier for me to drive.
Yeah.
Because some reason I can't just get the Xfinity car figured out, but I kind of got the next gen because every time I do a next gen league, in kind of league, I just do really good in it. Um, um, that's about it. Just
Yeah.
for me, it's
Well,
just easy to drive. I can drive it.
yeah.
I feel comfortable in the car.
I think that's a great point because I know that and some folks that hear me talk a lot the last 2 or 3 months are going to roll their eyes, but GT3 cars have a similar feel, and
Yeah.
they're very much
Yep.
they're very similar in the way that they act. Where GT3s, it's really hard to mess up, but it's hard to be really fast. Like it has sort of a safety net feel to it, where you get into another type of road car, even a GTE or other road cars they have out there. It's a lot more. You're nervous. You might spin the tires. Where in the GT3 cars, they're pretty locked down. You feel planted the whole time. So it seems to be they're based off of that pretty much. With NASCAR and IMSA having such they're owned by NASCAR, so obviously there's some crossover there. I kind of see the similarities in that, where it's easier to drive, but hard to be maybe really good. It's just a different thing. Like track position in oval racing has sort of become like the biggest thing. No longer are you driving through the field very easily. You can still do it, but it just seems like track position is going to be king. You're going to have to be so skilled to get over the dirty air that's a constant problem. And the next gen seems to really be eat up with dirty air. I can see where folks would like it, but also some folks would hate it. It's just it's a departure from what we're used to, for sure. But the Gen 6 car, the one before this at Daytona Talladega, you always were stuck.
Yeah.
You didn't really get big runs and stuff in that car. So with this next gen, you can really push and slam into the back of somebody. You get those big runs from about 2/10 out, and it does give you some opportunities to pass. So I think there's some improvement in the plate tracks. Other tracks maybe not as much, but I have a blast running the next gen at Bristol. Anywhere I have to run the high line, it seems like the next gen's pretty nice to drive there. Kansas is another fun one that I think It does a great job. So, yeah, I guess it just depends. You get them on short tracks, they're definitely frustrating. But the rest of that race, I mean, of course, we said Logan Sturgeon won the race. We saw that ending there. Sturgeon and Drabick did get together with some fun back and forth on Discord about that. Drabick he had a credible save. He was pretty much gone at that moment. Saved it,
Oh,
dropped
yeah.
back a little bit, but great save. That was with about 13 laps to go. Yeah, it was a lot of cautions, but still, I think a very good race. I've raced in leagues that I had 250 laps at Martinsville about a month or two ago, and it had 34 cautions. So we'll take 8 cautions. I think that's that's okay. Biggest movers of the race was Sam Milliken and Mark Hollifield. How about that? Mark's first top 10 in Goat Locker racing, up 27 positions. Hey, that's worth celebrating right there. I didn't even know that. I'm reading that for the first time. That's cool. So, Mark, if you're watching, man, congratulations, man. You come a long way. And, man, that's awesome. First top 10. Yeah, man. Do y'all remember your first top 10s? I don't. But I bet they're that's an incredible milestone.
I do remember my first top 10. It was in Original Rebels. I made top 3 when at Talladega when Pat and Jamie were broadcasting the ARCA series, and that was my first top 10.
I think my first 10 actually came as a win in the trucks at Talladega.
Oh, really?
So that's what. See, I just kind of like super speedway racing. That's where I kind of get my wins at.
Yeah, it seems to be, and I don't know if I'll say this right, but I hope nobody would take this the wrong way. I'm going to try to say it properly, but it seems like anybody that's new or gets started in iRacing, super speedway is sort of that first hurdle that you got to get over. Because it's fun, first off, because you never feel like that somebody's just kicking your butt. You know what I'm saying? You're still in the hunt all the way to the end. And when you're new to iRacing, going out and running, Texas or Charlotte and having the guy lap you 2 or 3 times in a 60-lap race, that feels pretty bad. It's pretty demoralizing, to go out there and just get your butt kicked. I used to race when I first started. You'd have to run late models after you got out of the rookie class, and when you get into late models, the guys who drive those, and there were a lot of guys who drove those specifically in real life. Josh Berry was on there at that time. A guy who works for iRacing, Tyler Hudson, was on there. Those guys were the best of the best when it comes to those. So you get to D class and you'd have to get on the track with those guys, and they would lap you in 2 or 3 laps. Just unbelievable. And so you get on those super speedways, and it really does feel like, okay, I got an opportunity to win. Maybe dodge some wrecks, learn how everything goes, get a good feel. And once you kind of master that, then you get ready to move on and start learning the other tracks, because it's been a long time since I've been new to iRacing, so I forget what it's like to start fresh and how doing this road course racing. I'm learning again, like sometimes when people go to Dover, they've never been to Dover, and they have to go and learn that first time. And if you've been there 1,000 times, exactly. You show up to Dover, you don't have to practice. You go out there, you know exactly what you need to do. But it takes a lot to kind of get to that point, right, where you have to learn each track. You got to go there multiple times before you feel comfortable. Where plate racing, you go there, you feel comfortable right away.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I talk too much, I guess. Well, anyway, let's move on to the next one. We've got Thursday ARCA, and of course we're going to play this video where I got the right one here, and we'll play this and watch this one. Now, the Thursday race was crazy. Ellingson, you were in this one, and I don't know
This
if you.
one hurts too.
Yeah, well, this final run to the finish was pretty incredible.
Oh, it was wild.
Yeah, it is really cool. Chance Taylor gets the win. Let's watch this video and see what happened there on this last restart.
See if George Jewell can get him some right here. Obviously talking about Lions being on 2 tires, George Jewell being on 4 tires. Here comes George Jewell trying to look to the inside. He knows he's got the 4 tires. Lions tries to put the block. Looking to the outside. Here comes Caustic. Now Jewell to the outside. Tries to get there. Jewell's got the run. They get the wrecking. All 3 of them wreck. Big time wreck at the line. No caution though because they was able to make it there. Chance Taylor in the 14. Sorry, Shasta. I know she's going to be absolutely pissed right here. But Chance Taylor in the 14 is going to take it all the way to the house, and he's going to win here tonight at Dover. Taylor gets to win. George second. Wallace third. We'll see if
That
George
gummit, I did it
Jewell
again.
can get him some right here.
Yeah, a great call there. That's Nazareth 360's call of the race. That's Jacob Reeves, man. Just really cool. He's shouting out Shasta there as George Jewell gets caught up in that wreck. But how about that? I mean, that's why we love the ARCA car right there. I think that's a great prime example of why the ARCA car is one of everybody's favorites. The ARCA car at Dover, what a cool combination. 3 wide for the win, and they tangle up. You can see the 4 tires from George Jewell was definitely putting pressure. Lucas took 2, trying to get that track position. Lucas was trying everything he could. Those 4 tires made a huge difference. You can see Kostic working that outside, gets a huge run, and I think he would have maybe got them both, but Lucas and George make a little bit of contact, and they go wrecking, and Chance Taylor able to get the victory and was the biggest mover of the race. So, Jake, you were in that one, man. What was that race like? And tell me about your race.
Well, I think I qualified second in the race, and we got up front and past Lucas for a little bit, and running up front for a while, and then I believe we had green flag stops at one portion of the race, and then I ended up getting a speeding penalty, and that kind of ruined my night for a while. I managed to come back with a top 10. I believe I finished 9th, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, the racing itself was good. Well, a lot of the cautions that happened were self spins or just racing incidences, which happens. But that finish, I was pulling for George. I've been pulling for George to get a win for a long time. I could see his improvement in his racing from last season, from when he joined GLR. So it's coming, George. You got to just hang in there and keep fighting the good fight. You'll get it, man. But Lucas, once again, can't say enough about his driving. On 2 tires, trying to keep up with 4 tires and doing it successfully for a little bit, and I think he just gassed it up just a little too soon, and made that contact with Jewell, and then took Caustic out with him, and then Chance just comes around and steals the victory.
Yeah, what a crazy finish. Yeah, it's a tough deal. You'd like to say in every scenario that if you're in that spot, you don't wreck the guy. You don't wash up into him. But when you're in that moment, man, it's you want to win so bad, and you gas it up, and it's from the viewers it looks like he just kind of slides up into him, like but we all know, being on the track and racing that type of racing for a long time, once you're in the throttle, that's it. You've kind of made your bed. Once you get full throttle, you lift, it's just going to go far right. So it's likely that he knew he wasn't going to make the corner because he felt the front end start to sail, and may have tried to lift. But once you lift in oval cars, the front end just continues to go to the right, even worse. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a tough deal. George is, he is obviously frustrated. I mean, everybody would be. Caustic the same way, but wrecking 3 wide for the lead, there's a lot worse ways to race. Being up there, if you're racing for the lead, that's you still feel good, but you hate to. I understand you hate to lose that, but still pretty fun, still pretty exciting, and put on a pretty great broadcast there at the end. Dover, one of my favorite tracks. Timothy, you big fan of Dover? You like the ARCA car?
Just like the Infinity car in Homestead, I can't figure Dover out. I know I'm terrible or I suck, but I like the Gen 4 car a little bit. You gotta have some skill to drive that car to be good. Dover is a hit and miss for me as well. I have good days and bad days. A lot of bad days. So
Yeah, it drives a lot like Darlington. Go ahead, sorry.
One day I'll figure it out. Maybe about 20, 25 years down the road, but I'll get there one day.
Well, I will tell you, Dover, Darlington are one of the more advanced tracks. I think it takes a while to get that one figured out, just because a lot of times the line will change pretty significantly over a tire run, and it's all about making sure that exit of 2. I think if you'll see that during the race, that turn 2 exit is so important, just like at Darlington. You got to nail that every single lap, and it takes a lot of time to get used to that. You can go out there and run a lap. Dover's one of those that'll trick the heck out of you. Boy, you'll go out there and you'll run lap right around the bottom. You'll gas it up, and she'll come off of 2 screaming, going over that hump, go under the bridge, go down 3 and 4, come off 4. You feel like, man, yeah, I got this made. You get about 20 laps into the race, that right front's crying, screaming, and you can't get off turn 2, and then they just go blowing your doors off of 2. Saving that right front. So it is definitely one of those tracks that takes a lot of time. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think there is a track that makes me feel as good as when I nail Dover. If I do a 100-lap race at Dover, when you figure it out, there's nothing more satisfying. Going around Charlotte for 100 laps, it's fine. The mile and a half Kansas, the Homestead's fine, but when you nail Dover and you get it figured out, boy, you go out there and you just love turning laps. So whenever you get it, Timothy, it's gonna be, you'll be like, oh, okay, I see now. This is because you immediately know when you get it and the other guy doesn't, because you come off of turn 2 and you just blow the doors off. So
right, I just need a lot of practice.
Yeah, it is such a fun track, Darlington. Like I said, it's the exact same way. But this particular series has been pretty cool for a lot of reasons. Of course, the pro was Chance Taylor, and Rusty Rafferty was the AM winner, the amateur winner this week. And so cool to see that continue to be a thing. We've talked about that here on the podcast. If you're kind of watching for the first time, we'll kind of go over it a little bit just because I think it is awesome. That particular series is split into 2 divisions. You have a pro division and an amateur division. And, I had a couple guys on, and I really don't know how. Jake, do you know how they split the people into division? Was it done by iRating, or how did they do it?
Just me and his name is escaping me now.
Daniel Kirkhill.
Daniel, yes. Daniel Kirkhill just sat down and just based off of how the guys raced around us during some of the recruitment races, a lot of the guys who raced with us in previous seasons, is just kind of how we split it up. And then we've changed 1 or 2 here every week, from going pro to am or am to pro. But yeah, it'll be a continuous moving piece in the puzzle. And until we nail it down, I think it's going extremely well for its beta run, let's say. And I've gotten plenty of messages saying that what we're doing with the pro-am splits is wonderful, and guys couldn't be happier, because they feel like, especially in the amateur division, they feel like they have something that they're fighting for, gaining that confidence every week, trying to get, a top 5 or, top 3 in that amateur division, or trying to fight for that amateur win.
Yeah. Timothy, you have any opinions on that, the pro-am?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay. Hey, no problem.
I might be out of the loop. I don't know.
No, you're good. Well, I'll explain it to you just like as we're going to expand to the audience what it means. But so in GT3 racing, they have a pro and an amateur division inside the races themselves. So instead of having a pro race and then an amateur race, It's called multi-classing. It's not multi-classing, it's just multi-division. And so they have who would be considered amateur drivers, not pro. They don't race for a manufacturer team or whatever. They're amateur drivers. And then you have a group of pro drivers. And so they race within their own class, their own division. And so they're all on the track at the same time. They all race for overall race wins, but their points only count towards their division. So the pro guys are racing, their championship standings are based on how they finish in races. The amateur the same way. So everybody's in the same race, but you're racing each other. So if you're in the amateur, you can finish, let's say, just make up numbers, you can finish 20th and still win the amateur division. So you never really feel like, oh, I'll never get up there and race with Jacob Ellingson. I'll never get up there and get to race with, Michael Kostick or Lucas Lyon or whomever. I'm just not there yet. But it gives you an opportunity to win something and fight for a championship when you may otherwise just not have the skill just yet to do that. And, a good point that I heard, I think last week, was the ability to be on track. I saw a comment going through trying to find some funny things to talk about in that segment that we did, where somebody was like, hey, we should separate the pros and the amateurs so their own race. Well, that defeats the whole purpose, I feel like, because if I'm going to learn to be better, I need to race against people that are better than me. And that's the only way you're ever going to get better. You have to visually see what guys are doing. You got to see how they manage races. And I think that's why this is the perfect thing for a learner type of series, is to have both of them on the track at the same time, but give you the option of racing for your amateur division and have something to take home. And so for Rusty Rafferty, I mean, he's got to be feeling good, man. He won the amateur. He was the race winner for that division. So just really cool. I think it's a cool way of doing it. It's a lot of work for the admins. So I would really like for folks who race in that series, and I'm going to continue to say it every week on here, is, man, give them a lot of props, give them a lot of grace, because it's a lot to keep up with, a lot of work. And if I want to say Daniel Kerkeel's been kind of spearheading, taking care of that. Is that right, Jake?
Oh yeah, he's took the bull by the horns. I've actually he's been doing 90% of the work in the ARCA division. A lot of the stuff that we take care of, that I take care of, is just race reviews and just making some race review calls. For penalties need to be taken care of. He lets that fall on my shoulders, but otherwise everything else, he's been taken care of, and he's been doing a damn good job at it.
Well, so I'm going to kind of put it out there now. You need to be sending Daniel Kerkeel, if you're in that series, if you're in the amateur division or in the pro, you need to be sending Daniel Kerkeel a message saying how much you appreciate him, because if he leaves, that's going to go on somebody else, or he says, I'm done with this, it's too much work. So y'all better appreciate something like this, because anytime you join a league, a lot of times, a lot of the work that gets done to make these things go is a lot of free work. People are taking their own time to do this type of stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, that type of keeping up with the points and stuff is not easy. You got to sift through every single race and go through there. And so there needs to be a lot of thank yous out there every single week if you enjoy the pro-am split, because it takes a lot of work. And, but don't piss off Daniel Kerkeel. That's what I want to say. Let's keep him happy, because I think that's awesome, and we appreciate him kind of spearheading that. But so Thursday ARCA race, pretty good. Great finish, depending on who you are. If you're George Jewell, Michael Kostick, or Lucas Lyon, maybe not the best finish, but Chance Taylor, Rusty Rafferty, they were tickle pink. So I thought that race was pretty good. We're going to kind of scoot on through. We're taking up a lot of y'all's time. We want to get to the rest of these series, but the Friday Night Truck Series, Vets for Life Racing, and this one was a pretty good finish as well. Let's take it out. Both these drivers, Jake and Timothy, both in this one.
2 laps to go from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Stubblefield now pulls to the outside with help from Knights on D. Salvino. It's side by side, gridlock for the lead. Does Knights go to make a move? Contact on the bottom. Barkus gets knocked sideways. Stubblefield fights on the outside once again, 3 wide behind, coming to the white flag in Atlanta. Yeah, Matt Knight's really giving those aggressive pushes. I think I see the 26 of Logan Sturgeon forced at 3 wide.
He's the truck in the middle, and we've got 1 lap to go here at Atlanta. Logan Sturgeon really forcing his way up through, almost makes contact with that number 3 painted truck, but it's Howie DiSavino with the push from Jamie Barkus behind. Matt Knights is doing everything to try to push Timothy Stubblefield to a win, but let's see who's going to get to the start-finish line first. Is it going to be the low lane? Yes, it will be Howie DiSavino claiming win number 3 at round number 3.
Well, Timothy Stubblefield, I can see you shaking your head, boy. I don't I don't mean to laugh, but man, I can see the pain of you having to rewatch that. And that's Alec Martinez and Joey Atterbury on the call. Alec Martinez, a very exciting broadcaster. Him and Joey, I think, do a great job on Friday night. But Timothy, talk me through them last little bits, man. You're right there. It just about had it. Just barely came up a little bit short.
Yeah, I think I lost by 11 hundredths of a second. I mean, I was pretty nervous that last 10, 5 laps to go. I was like, any seconds. Like, I know the 64 was giving me good bumps in the last 3 to go. And I was like, I think 2 to go. I know I had him 55. I can't think of his name. I had him. I was like, if 64 can do this again one more time, I should have him. But I think coming out of 3 and 4, I think behind him they kind of went 3 wide, so he kind of lost the drive. So he wasn't able to give me the bump I need right there at the end. But I was like that close. I think that's the second. I raced in the league on Wednesday nights, and I lost 2 or 3 weeks ago. I lost by 12 hundredths of a second. Same thing. So I was like this close. But it's been this close. I'm like Shelton Creed out there. Finish second.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, y'all had a fantastic run to the finish. That was so much fun to watch. And I thought this race was I'm not gonna say it's the best one of the week, but man, it sure was fun. I enjoyed the heck out of watching this one from the production booth. But you had 80 laps, 4 cautions for 12 laps, but 14 lead changes. It was constantly going back and forth. And Michael Kostick was on the pole and led the first 62 laps. So it sounds funny, 14 lead changes. He led 62 out of the 80 laps. Pretty incredible how much he stayed out front. But something about that doesn't seem right, does it? He led 62 laps, 14 lead changes, but pretty fun race overall. I thought was just an interesting combo, the night race at Atlanta and the trucks, and it was exciting all the way to the finish. Kind of, Jake, you guys had a different strategy in that race. Goat Locker kind of hung around at the back to start with. Was that what y'all wanted to do? What was y'all's plan going into the race?
Yeah, it was a different strategy for the GLR team for sure. Normally we like to be up there up front, trying to fight for getting laps led and getting each other, that bonus point for leading the lap. But with how the car was handling, how the truck was handling during practice, it felt like as soon as you got up to the bumper of the truck in front of you, it felt like a polarized magnet that was just going back and forth, trying to get it stuck together, but it's like surrounding around. You couldn't break a bubble, but as soon as you got as soon as the truck in front of you drug the brake a little, you could break that bubble and get it going. It felt fine, but after that, it was good. But towards the second half of the race is when we decided that we were going to start, making our way towards the front, and we got up there with the team, and then we got split up with pit stops, I believe, or a wreck happened, and we got split up, and then that's all she wrote for my race. But good on Jamie for getting a solid finish for the team. I think me and Pat both wrecked out, had DNFs, for the night, which is unfortunate. But Pat's pretty solid in the points. I think he has a win. I think. in the trucks, so I think he's set for the playoffs. So we just got to get the rest of the team, settled in and get them a playoff spot.
Yeah, the one of the biggest stories in that race was Kostick, who led that many laps, and then as he was going down, they had green flag pit stops at a plate track, which is really cool. A lot of really good racing. Third line really never ever seemed to get going. It's pretty tall task at this type of on the sim, try to get 3 lanes going in Atlanta. We did see it a little bit toward the back of the pack, but just could not get any kind of third lane going. But yeah, he goes down into pit road, and Craig Bontrager just kind of smokes it on pit road and just spins him around. He gets a speeding penalty, goes a couple laps down. His race was over after that. But yeah, Timothy there at the end. Well, first off, where did you start, Stubblefield?
I think I started middle of the pack. I think I started like 15, 16.
Do you like starting up in the middle of the pack? Do you rather be up front? Do you rather be in the back? Where do you like to start? Are you more of an aggressive type at plate tracks, or are you more of a kind of more conservative?
I'm more conservative. If I can qualify up front, I'm gonna stay up front. That's how I like to be. Um, I don't like starting. I don't know. I can start in the back. I can miss the wrecks, but sometimes you just can't avoid them. Like Atlanta, I mean Daytona, like you said, it's hard to get three wide, a 3 lane, keep it. So I want to be up front, avoid everything, and I think I kind of got there at 10, 9 most of the race, and I think we got that second half, and some of the leaders kind of got into it, and that's how I kind of got my way up to the front because it was hard to pass in that second half of the race. So,
Yeah. Well, it seems like Atlanta, don't you? You kind of have to make moves on your own. You don't really get a chance to make big moves with groups of guys because you can't stay connected. So it seems like when you get that opportunity to make a move, make jump lanes and stuff like that, you have to take them, and it splits up teams and stuff. And I don't know. It just seems like once you get to that second half of the race, the both lanes are going to be just like you said, stopped up, and there'll be nowhere to go. Nobody's taking it easy anymore. Everybody's pushing hard. That seemed to be the case. It just kind of locked everything down, unless you had a wreck. So it seemed like it definitely was tough to pass. But I mean, were the trucks handling good? I know at Talladega it was a pretty scary setup having to lift on entry with the track temp. What about under? I think it was like 70 something degrees on the track Friday night. So what was the handling like with that McConaughey fix setup?
I think when you was kind of in the middle of the pack, still kind of loose. I think it was that time you kind of drift up a little bit. Everything I was still kind of letting off a little bit going in the turns. Sometimes I'll try to tap the brake a little bit just to keep the truck steady. But off and on, man, it was pretty good. It's a good setup.
Yeah, well, still a fantastic race. Of course, the Friday Night Truck Series is sort of the premier invite only series, and so far it's been really good. It's lived up to its name, and looking forward to continue to see that that series unfold. It's always been a pretty good one. Any more thoughts about the Friday Night Truck race? How we do Savino, a Xfinity driver in real life, wins the race. 3 different winners that we've had so far. Jacob kind of found that stat. I think that's about how this series has gone.
Yeah.
Last season it was 7 or 8 winners before we had a repeat. And then Chuck Phelps with the Smooth Sailing Award for the biggest mover without incident points. So congratulations to him. That's pretty sweet. Matt Knights, who was pushing Stubblefield there, coming to the checkered flag. He was the biggest mover of the race, up 26 spots, but he had some incidents, so he didn't get the award for it. But overall, I thought that was a really fun race, very exciting, and can't wait to see where that series continues to go. Let's move on, and we'll get the InVets Truck Series. We are running a little bit longer than I meant to. Been trying to get this thing down to an hour. It's just impossible. So we're gonna finish it up. We don't want to leave the Sunday Truck Series out. We want to talk and give it some time as well. So let's take a look at this this highlight video by Taylor Kitchens.
Anyone gonna have the power to beat David Duke. Things are about to get quite interesting. Barney with the green flag in hand. Restart. We're back underway. And it's a pretty clean restart up at front. Duke got off to a great jump. And the 99 was not caught sleeping, but Taylor was. Duke away. You know, David Duke, he's been all through the field tonight, but he's going to be the one to hold the checkered flag. It's waving. It's the 78 machines to take. And they're wrecking as they come across the stripe. And that is chaos to end the race.
That about summed it up. This was a chaotic but very fun night. And now David Duke. There's plenty of rubber out here already, but he might sling some more onto it.
David, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, gentlemen. How are we tonight?
Oh, doing very well. I'm sure not better than you, who survived all of that late race chaos to get to do the burnouts and hit your left rear fender up against the outside wall. You trying to hide anything in post-race tech?
You know, if they're going to look at it, we might as well give them something to look at, right?
I love that ideology.
Well, that was a cool finish. That race had a lot of stuff going on. 7 cautions in that 100-lap race, and up front it was back and forth all race long. And I know Mike George was up there battling. He got caught. He kind of got into a wreck towards the end of it. He's been pretty insane the last 3 weeks. He is almost the guy to beat in every series, it seems like. Yeah, Chance Taylor also had a really nice night. Moved up 18 positions, got himself a top 5. But David Duke wins that one. Yeah, late race, lots of caution. I think they had a couple green, white checkers and a lot of cautions there at the end. And Duke was up in the top 5 for a majority of the end of that race and just took advantage of being in the right place at the right time, avoiding issues, and came away with the victory. Did y'all get a chance to watch that race? What were your thoughts, and do you have any opinions about it?
I did watch it, and I mean, overall, when the race went green flag, it was very good racing. A lot of the restarts is where the issues came in, and I believe it just for it being Dover, it was probably a hot, slick track, you know, really greasy, guys spinning tires on the restarts. I think if they would have settled down on the restarts a little bit, they wouldn't have had as many cautions. There would have probably been 3 cautions if it weren't for a lot of the guys spinning tires on the restarts and, you know, looping it. But overall, excellent race.
Stubbs, did you watch it?
I did not get to watch it. I had some family stuff to take care of, but like I done watched that highlight video. If after every race, when they come out, I watch them. By the time I do go back and watch the broadcast and watch through them and everything, but it seems like a good race. I hate I missed it. I'll watch it next week for sure.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you know, what a healthy truck series that has been. You know, having 2 truck series, a next gen and ARCA, and a Xfinity series is that's a lot to ask out of a league that usually stretches leagues thin, and they kind of struggle trying to spread themselves that thin. But not Go Locker, man. A lot of strong, nice backbone, obviously. For this series, and that Sunday truck series has been pretty successful, and the guys that are running it are doing a great job. People stepping up. Mike George, I want to say Daniel Kirill might be doing
Correct.
that one as well. Yeah, so
Yes.
those guys stepping up in real big ways. I mean, you love to see that. You know, I'm always going to celebrate those who put in a lot of work. I mean, Jake Ellingson, you put in a lot of work that nobody knows about. We definitely always appreciate that. Stuff that we don't even see, may not even know about. But what I do love is I love people who come in and go, I like this place. I want to race here. And so they instead of just enjoying the racing, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what it's here for. But they step up and say, I want to have a little bit of ownership in GLR. And here's a need. We got a sponsor that wants a series. Well, heck, I'm going to take the charge, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, going back and looking at some of these messages from the past, you know, these guys have only been around since the summer series, and they come in now, they're admins of the series. So Go Locker's always looking for folks to step up, be a part of it. You know, make your put your stamp on it, and that's what those guys have done. And I think that truck series is going to be pretty healthy from here on out. So really great series. Cool to have McConey Entertainment doing the broadcast, and it's been a pretty good series. Yeah, that one had just about as many cautions, 7 cautions for 29 laps, but 14 lead changes. So that one had a lot of really good racing. It was definitely worth the watch. Lots of good side by side racing, and it finished pretty spectacularly. So another Dover finish, man. Just Dover puts on a heck of a show. Well, that's gonna do it for us. I think we need to get out of here. Whoever stayed here and watch, I definitely appreciate it. We're gonna try to figure out a way to close this out a little bit sooner, not put y'all so far back, but had so much to talk about. There's just too much to talk about here in Goat Locker, and boy, that's a great thing. How about how cool is that? You can't. We're over here doing an hour and 45 minutes on a podcast, and we could talk about so much more. But thanks to everybody, all the sponsors, everybody in chat that's been talking in chat, making jokes, laughing. We definitely appreciate y'all. And anybody that goes back and watch it, hope you enjoy it. We're looking to continue to do fun things on this podcast. This thing's sort of a playground for me personally, but I want it to be something that is y'all's too. So I want drivers, if you want to be on, definitely message me and let me know. There's people who have done that already. So I still got you in mind, but we want this to be everybody's podcast. We want this to be something that you guys kind of hold as something that's yours. And so if you want to be on it, definitely let me know. Be glad to have you. If you want to talk about your race, if you got a multi-level marketing scheme you want to push, we'll listen to it for a couple minutes. We might move on quickly, but if you're trying to sell me some cut code knives or something, we get it. But no, it's cool. Hopefully we'll figure something else out. We'll kind of make this more interesting. Something that you go back and it's fun to watch. It's not us talking the whole time. So, yeah, thank all of our sponsors as always. I mean, all of the sponsors we talked about tonight. We've got Hidden Rip Brewery. We've got Next Gen or Cruising Classics. The Thursday series, Veterans for Life Foundation. You got Veterans for Life Racing, and then InVets on the Sunday Truck Series. You got iRacing, you got Above the Yellow Line, you've got Lincoln Tech, and so many more sponsors. Indiana Veteran Affairs. I get in so much trouble when I shout out sponsors because I forget ones and people need to tell me. Jake, help me out.
Well, I'll run it from the top. We'll go. Who's on the number 27? We got Lincoln Tech, Hidden Wit Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, InVets, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazareth 360, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander's PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, Above the Yellow Line, and none of this would even be possible without iRacing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so many sponsors. I know, people, they get nervous when they win a race or they have something going on because they have to, oh gosh, I got to find the sponsor list. And you look at it and you go, oh gosh, I'm not prepared for this. But man, I tell you, it's worth the effort to go through there and talk about it because Goat Locker's got some incredible sponsors. And if you want to sponsor a podcast, we'd be glad to take on some more sponsorships. So if you're out there and you want to put your name on a podcast, hey, I might put it on there, so let me know. I'll put it on a truck. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get sponsors to put on this podcast. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a name of somebody's logo on the podcast. But
they can do the podcast in the truck.
There you go. Hey, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, a 2-for-1 deal. You get a 2-for if you sponsor the Goat Talk Live. We'll put it on truck. Well, I'll tell you what, Timothy Stubblefield, Jake Ellingson, thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. Without y'all, this is not going to be a good podcast. It's just me talking, and that's not good for anybody. But yeah, we move on to week number 4 next week. The truck series, there may be some news coming out about that. I'm not going to announce anything or say anything about that because it's not 100% true yet. But Guy's going to be out at Bristol this weekend. So check social media, Goat Lockers, Facebook, I don't know if they got Instagram, but Twitter and TikTok. Check that out. Keep eye on it. They'll be putting out videos, I'm sure, photos and stuff. See who you race with, see what they got going on. And if you're in the Bristol area, give them a call, message them. If you're at the track, let them know. And And sure to appreciate everybody watching. Hope y'all enjoy these things. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see y'all next week. Pat and Jamie are going to be back on next week. You definitely want to be here for that one, as they're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, goat locker stuff, and it'll be a fun one. So I don't know how to dismount. I don't know how to get out of here, so I'm going to say bye. See you later.
Peace.
See ya.